Assalamu alaikum class, it's Sister Mariam coming with your weekly videos. As you all know, we are focused on the study of histology, which is the study of tissues. And this week we're going to go over connective and epithelial tissues. So get ready to take your notes and pay attention. Connective tissues. Connective tissue is one of the four basic types of tissue in the human body, along with epithelial, muscle, and nervous tissue. It serves a variety of functions, providing support, protection, and structure to human organs and other tissues. Connective tissue is categorized by the presence of cells embedded in the extracellular matrix, which consists of fibers and ground substance. This matrix gives connective tissue their strength and flexibility. Connective tissue is extremely important, you all. As we are studying the different components of tissues that are in our bodies, please notate how they connect and work together to form this beautiful vessel that we have been blessed with. Cells. The cells of the connective tissue contain a variety of cells, including fibroblasts, which are responsible for producing fibers and ground substance, adipocytes, which are fat cells. We're going to talk about those a lot, especially when we hit the digestive system. So, you all definitely want to make sure you notate the adipocytes, the macrophages as well. Macrophages are a part of your immune cells that engulf pathogens. So, when we start talking about the immune system, we're going to talk about macrophages and mast cells. These cells are involved in the inflammatory response. So, we'll talk about that with the immune system, with the allergic reactions, and why, when we carry certain diseases, we those diseases are considered to create an inflamed environment. We have a lot of inflammatory responses with diabetes and heart disease. And so we will go over talking about mast cells as it relates to that. So some of this terminology you all will hear again and again and again. Fibers for connective tissues. You have collagen fibers. I'm sure you all have heard about collagen. Collagen keeps the skin tight. So when we start talking about the skin, when we're talking about bones as well, though, collagen plays a key role. So these fibers are strong and provide structural support. Collagen is the most abundant protein in the human body and is essential for the integrity of connective tissues. Elastic fibers. These fibers are stretchable and elastic. Now we not no not like the bionic man. Like they're not gonna stretch all over the place, but we got a little movement up in this vessel. So the elastic fibers it definitely comes in handy when we're trying to move around. We're not moving around like stiff beans, but we can squat, we can bend, we can turn. These tissues allow tissues to return to their original shape after being stretched or compressed, which plays a very key role when a woman is pregnant and her stomach is growing with the baby inside and the skin is stretching. The elastic fibers help that skin return back to the best of its ability. And also, people who may gain weight and lose weight, there are depending upon the person's pretty much age, and there's a couple other things that plays a role in that, but the elasticity in their skin will determine whether or not after they lose weight their skin will retract. It's going to go back to its original structure or as close to it as possible, or in some cases with morbid obesity and things of that nature, some people have to get that skin cut off. So we'll talk about that though. Reticular fibers. These fibers form a network that support various tissues and organs, especially those with delicate structure like the liver and the spleen. So we'll talk more about the different organs in the body as we're going into the systems of the body, which ones are considered to be a little bit more delicate than others. All right, functions of connective tissues. You have 5 different functions, these main functions of connective tissue. So connective tissue plays the role of support. It absolutely is support. Connective tissues provide structural support to organs and tissues. For example, bones provide support to the body and protective internal organs, while cartilage supports and cushions the joints. Very, very important, extremely important for us. So we're not snakes, right? We have bones, we have structure, we have form, and our bones are made up of connective tissue that helps to sustain, that support and form. And of course, those our bones play a key role in protecting major organs of the body, which leads to protection. The connective tissue play a role in protection. Connective tissues such as bone and cartilage protect delicate structures. For instance, the skull protects the brain, and the cartilage in the respiratory tract prevents airway from collapsing. So we have tissues within our respiratory system that keeps the lungs formed correctly, that keeps the trachea in place, that's going to keep our bronchial and bronchi in place. This is formed by connective tissue, so we don't just collapse and fall all over the place, but it helps keep the integrity of the structure and function of the various organs and tracts in the body. Connective tissue also has a binding role. Connective tissues bind structures together, like ligaments, for example, connect bones to bones. Tendons connect muscle to bone. Keep that in mind because you all actually are tested on that when we get into the skeletal muscular system. You all need to know that a lot of people mix those up, so don't mix them up. Ligaments connect bone to bone, it stabilizes joints, while tendons connect muscle to bone, allowing movement. So tendons help with movement, okay? They connect muscle to bone. Notate that. You want to remember that. I promise you, people confuse those, mix those up all the time. Even people in the medical field mess that up. So please make sure that you remember that. Functions of connective tissue also plays a role in storage. So adipose tissues, as I just mentioned before, with the adipose sites, which adipose, when you see adipose site, whenever you see site, C-Y-T-E, we're talking about cells. So when you see adipose sites, that word, we're talking about the cells of tissues. So adipose tissue, a type of connective tissue, stores energy in the form of fat. It also acts as insulation and provides cushioning. We'll talk about that more, a little bit more, probably next week when we go into actual lipids and talk about that. Or more so, sorry, just confused you all with eighth grade. Eighth grade talks about lipids next week. Next week, we will be talking about muscle and nervous tissue. However, we will get into that though when we start talking about tissues a little bit further. We will talk about adipocytes a little bit more because when you're looking at how we store fat and how we utilize energy, what's long term versus what's short term, and then with adipocytes, what causes us to gain weight when the fat is being stored in the adipose tissues. It's not that the person has actually um, grown more adipocytes or like increased their adipocytes. What happens is that actual cell absorbs the fat and becomes a larger cell. So, but we'll, like I said, we'll get into that more in detail a little bit later. So another function for connective tissues is transport. Blood and specialized connective tissue transport oxygen, nutrient, hormones, and waste products throughout the body. Blood is composed of cells suspended in a liquid matrix called plasma. All of these cells that we're discussing that assist in that matrix is called, oh, I'm sorry, is made from connective tissues. So liquid is tissue as well. So don't think that liquid cannot be tissue. It falls underneath this category too and assists with transportation, of course, throughout the body. Remember, connective tissues are incredibly diverse, given to I really just got tongue tied, you all. Sorry. Connective tissues are incredibly diverse, giving rise to a wide range of structures from the tendons that connect muscles to bones to the blood that circulates throughout the body. The various types of connective tissues cater to the specific needs of different organs and body parts, contributing significantly to the body's overall function and structure. Know this paragraph. Learn this paragraph. Trust me, you will see it again, and you definitely need to know it for an exam. So you want to be able to summarize what is it that connective tissue do for our body. Now, epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissue is one of the four primary types of tissues, as we just discussed with connective tissue. But epithelial tissue is found in the human body alongside connective tissue, muscle, and nervous tissue. They all work together. Epithelial tissue covers the body's surfaces, both inside and out, and forms the lining of various organs and cavities. Cavities just means an opening. It is categorized by tightly packed cells that create continuous sheets, providing protection, absorption, secretion, and sensation. Epithelial cells have a remarkable ability to regenerate, aiding in the healing of wounds and maintaining tissue integrity. Now, the key characteristics of epithelial tissue, cellularity is the first one. Epithelial tissues are primarily composed of cells that are closely packed together, leaving minimal extracellular material between them. So, what you all see right here is an actual image of what epithelial tissue looks like underneath the microscope. Next characteristic is polarity. Epithelial cells exhibit polarity, meaning they have distinct apical, apical. Oh my God, I'm cracking myself up, you all. I'm sorry. Which means free and basal attached surfaces. The apical surface faces a body cavity, lumen, or external environment, while the basal surface adheres to the underlying connective tissue. So here's another picture of looking at epithelial cells underneath the microscope. And I believe we have some slides in the classroom that you all can look at and look at different tissue types underneath the microscope. So we'll go ahead and knock that out this week too. Another characteristic of epithelial tissue is attachment. The basal surface of epithelial cells is attached to the basement membrane, a thin extracellular layer composed of proteins. This membrane provides structural support and helps anchor the epithelial tissue to underlying connective tissues. This is more so like a cartoon type picture here, but the yellow or goldish type underneath kind of shows where that basement attachment membrane lies. Next one is avascularity. Epithelial tissues lack blood vessels. Nutrients and oxygen diffuse from nearby blood vessels in the underlying connective tissue to nourish the epithelial cells. So they do not carry blood vessels. Regeneration also is a characteristic of epithelial tissue. Epithelial cells have a high regenerative capacity, allowing them to rapidly replace damaged or lost cells. This is excellent when we cut ourselves. This property is crucial for maintaining the integrity of body structure and promoting quick healing. Quick healing. Very important. That's what we want. Now, here we go for epithelial types. Epithelial types, we have simple epithelium. This consists of a single layer of cells. Functions include absorption, secretion, and filtration. Examples include the lining of blood vessels, endothelium, air sacs of the lungs, simple squamous epithelium, and the intestines, simple columnar epithelium. You all will see different images of what that actually means. I know you all are not familiar with the medical terminology right now, which is absolutely fine. I will show you all different images, and we probably will watch a video on what the inside of the intestines look like and be able to see the different areas of the simple epithelium tissues. You also have a type called stratified epithelium. It contains multiple layers of cells. It provides protection against abrasion and physical damage. Examples include the skin stratified squamous epithelium and the urinary bladder transitional epithelium. So again, you all will look at different videos that will actually show the different types of tissues. When you're looking at epithelial tissue, you actually need some visual aids to go along with what the medical terminology is so you can understand what it actually looks like. With the connective tissue, it's easier to picture connective tissue, but you all see images for that as well. But epithelium tissue can get a little bit complex, so I definitely want you all to see the different types of epithelium tissues that we should be able to. In the classroom, we do have a bladder in the classroom, a model of a bladder in the classroom. But we'll look at some other thing, imaging on the probably a YouTube video we'll watch. Okay, pseudo stratified epithelium. It appears stratified, but consists of single layer of cells varying heights, of varying heights. Often ciliated, this type of epithelium is found in the respiratory tract where it helps move mucus and trapped particles away from the lungs. So when we get to the respiratory system, you all will see what that actually looks like. The importance about learning the different types of tissues now and the characteristics of tissues is because when we get into the different systems of the body, the different organ systems, you'll be able to understand better how it works because you'll be able to already know how it's made. What is it made up of? What type of tissues and what type of functions do these tissues provide? The other type of epithelial tissue is the squamous, cuboidal, and columnar epithelium. This refers to the shapes of the cells in the tissue. There are different types of shapes. The squamous cells are flat and thin. Cuboidal is just what it sounds like, it's a cube. Columnar is cells that are taller and more rectangle. These shapes are often combined with the term simple or stratified to describe specific types of epithelial tissues. And again, you all will see more examples of that. This is what I want you all to remember too about epithelial tissues. They are vital for protecting the body from external threats. They facilitate the exchange of substances and provide sensory input. Their diverse structures and functions are tailored to specific locations within the body, allowing epithelial tissues to perform a wide range of tasks essential for maintaining homeostasis and overall health. Final conclusion, go back and study these slides. So, once the video is over, I want you all to go on Jupiter Ed and pull down the PDF of the slides and view them, study them, take notes, and write down any questions that you all may have for tomorrow's discussion because we're going to go back over this information in detail, but we're going to add to it more imaging, more hands-on, so you can really get a feel for what these tissues are and how this beautiful body is made. Thank you all, because I know you took amazing notes and you were listening and paying attention. The other thing I want you all to continue to do is work on researching histological diseases. We're going to talk about that in class tomorrow too, and see which disease you actually chose to do your presentation on. We'll talk more about what that presentation should look like, what the rubric is for that presentation that you have to do in class, and how long you have before it's actually due. So we'll discuss all of that tomorrow as well. And again, do not forget to go back and pull the slides down to this video and study them. And you all know the video is up on Jupiter Ed as well for you to can go back and listen to it later. All right, see y'all tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.